competitive market model seeks to create the best possible goods at the lowest possible prices. This statement is essentially the incentive concept, which justifies market competition based on the assumption that the result is the production of higher quality goods. If I was going to build myself a table from scratch, I would naturally build it out of the best, most durable materials possible, right? With the intent for it to last as long as possible. Why would I want to make something poor, knowing I would have to eventually do it again and expend more materials and more energy? Well, as rational as that may seem in the physical world, when it comes to the market world, it is not only explicitly irrational, it is not even an option. It is technically impossible to produce the best of anything if a company is to maintain a competitive edge and hence remain affordable to the consumer. Literally everything created and set for sale in the global economy is immediately inferior the moment it is produced, for it is a mathematical impossibility to make the most scientifically advanced, efficient, and strategically sustainable products. This is due to the fact that the market system requires that cost efficiency, or the need to reduce expenses, exist at every stage of production, from the cost of labor to the cost of materials and packaging, and so on. This competitive strategy, of course, is to make sure the public buys their goods rather than from a competing producer, which is doing the exact same thing to also make their goods both competitive and affordable. This immutably wasteful consequence of the system could be termed intrinsic obsolescence. However, this is only one part of a larger problem. A fundamental governing principle of market economics, one that you will not find in any textbook, by the way, is the following. Nothing produced can be allowed to maintain a lifespan longer than what can be endured in order to continue cyclical consumption. In other words, it is critical that stuff break down, fail, and expire within a certain amount of time. This is termed planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is the backbone of the underlying market strategy of every goods-producing corporation in existence. While very few, of course, would admit to such a strategy outright, what they do is mask it within the intrinsic obsolescence phenomenon just discussed, while often ignoring or even suppressing new advents in technology which might create a more sustainable, durable good. So, if it wasn't wasteful enough that the system inherently cannot allow the most durable and efficient goods to be produced, planned obsolescence deliberately recognizes that the longer any good is in operation, the worse it is for sustaining cyclical consumption and hence the market system itself. In other words, product sustainability is actually inverse to economic growth, and hence there is a direct, reinforced incentive to make sure lifespans are short of any given good produced. And in fact, the system cannot operate any other way. One glance at the sea of landfills now spreading across the world show the obsolescence reality. There are now billions of cheaply made cell phones, computers, and other technology, each full of precious, difficult-to-mine materials such as gold, coltan, copper, now rotting in vast piles, usually due to the mere malfunction or obsolescence of small parts, which, in a conservative society, could likely be fixed or updated, and the life of the good extended. Unfortunately, as efficient as that may seem in our physical reality, living on a finite planet with finite resources, it is explicitly inefficient with respect to the market. To put it into a phrase, efficiency, sustainability, and preservation are the enemies of our economic system. Likewise, just as physical goods need to be constantly produced and reproduced, regardless of their environmental impact, the service industry operates with an equal rationale. The fact is, there is no monetary benefit to resolving any problems which are currently being serviced. At the end of the day, the last thing the medical establishment really wants is the curing of diseases such as cancer, which would eliminate countless jobs and trillions in revenue. And since we're on the subject, crime and terrorism in this system are good. Well, at least economically, for it is employing police, generating high-value commodities for security, not to mention the value of prisons that are privately owned for profit. And how about war? The war industry in America is a huge driver of GDP, one of the most profitable industries, producing weapons of death and destruction. The favorite game of this industry is to blow things up and then go and rebuild them.
Come on then. Hey, people, let's go blow some stuff up and rebuild it. That was Brother Peter Joseph of the Zeitgeist Movement. Love that brother to death. Boy, he is always dropping some serious knowledge. We talking about planned obsolescence. It's crazy how you can just throw these words out and it always fits. Planned obsolescence, the planning of things to break down, nobody repair them, so you can go out and buy another iPhone. I mean, go out and buy, buy more. So I'm coming to y'all from the boneyard this morning. I'm out in one of our boneyards, sitting in some of our military equipment. We spent millions and millions and billions and billions, and now they're just rotting out in the desert. We got a couple of these fields with all types of military equipment, which is another part of, you thought planned obsolescence was just for you. It's not just for you. Planned obsolescence for the government too. Big industry is so good at it, they got our government tied up in it. Because the military equipment breaks down, you build up these arms races, they gotta get more, it's gotta be better, the missiles gotta shoot farther, blow up more, it's gotta have higher and higher technology. So it's not just that we are unsustainable and we don't fix anything and we don't actually utilize any of that wisdom from the past. Our government does too. So we're lost in this spiral. The planned obsolescence is like planned unsustainability. It's a better way of saying it. It means that we plan to be unsustainable, and we built a model in an entire society around immense unsustainability at a time where everybody's talking about sustainability. And it don't make no damn sense. Speaking of unsustainable, that's one thing I kind of want to talk about a little bit. We talk about a little planned obsolescence today, but it relates to everything else. So we can talk about that, and we can talk about all types of other good, delicious stuff. I'm coming to y'all from my mansion this morning. I want y'all to see my mansion. It's nice and pretty. Down there on the beach. I don't know if you recognize, some of y'all might recognize where I'm at. Oh, I seen that picture. I know which mansion he's at. And to me, well, actually, to be honest with you, it's not my mansion. I'm be honest with you. Let me be honest. That's not my mansion. And if I ever show up there, they're going to shoot me. And I will probably go to prison quite quickly. I know some people are mad, like, I know where that is. That's Trump mansion. Well, listen, they're not going to let me in. But it's a good thing they don't let me in, because it's obvious to me that that's not my team. Which brings me over to the other mansion. So I'm going to go to my mansion. Sister girl, let me in. Sister girl, Oprah, let me. Oh, nope, this ain't my mansion either. This is not my, which is a good thing. I show up there, boy, Brother Stedman, and put me in a wheelbarrow, reel me the hell out the driveway. But the good thing is, it's a good reminder that that's not my team neither. I know, y'all want that to be my team. I'm sorry, it's not my team. People, they get lost in this idea that we're supposed to vote for billionaires. And that's the 100,000-pound gorilla in the room, no pun. No pun to either one of them, but y'all, you get older, you gain a little weight. That kind of happens. It works that way. But it's the 100-pound gorilla in the room. Everybody's talking about, we're going to run Oprah for president. And so I posted something yesterday, and people, sometimes they take me the wrong way. They say, you ain't going to vote for Oprah. Well, okay, let me ask this. Okay, so I'll be fair. We'll put it this way. Will I vote for Oprah? I got to pass my first litmus test. Will Oprah be running under a party that murders children? Very simple. Can you answer that question for me? And if you're not ready to answer that question, I can't tell you if I would vote for Oprah. But my answer is the same. Am I going to vote for Obama? Did Obama run for a political party that murders children and is okay with it and normalized it and does it every single day? buries toddlers under tons and tons of concrete, stone, rubble from fallen buildings. Same question with Trump. Am I gonna vote for Trump? Am I gonna vote for Clinton? Same litmus test. Will they be running for a group that murders little kids? And that should answer your question. But outside of that, this is not my team, okay? It's not my team. Remember, y'all into teamism. That is not me. I am not on anybody's team. I'm all about human rights, but not only that, I wasn't born a billionaire. Mind you, neither was she. And people get up, nah, it's not about Oprah. This has nothing to do with Oprah. It has to do with me looking out for the people who nobody is looking out for. Me trying to use the minimal little voice I have for people who are voiceless. And walking into this new dawn of just planned obsolescence and just buy, throw everything away and blame the government for what's wrong with the world. And we escalate these people to just mega millionaire, then billionaire, now trillionaire status, to a point where $1 billion, you might actually be middle class now. You might be upper middle class if you got $1 billion. I mean, you only got $1 billion, man? What's wrong with you? And so, you know, sitting in the middle class, you're like, you talking about getting left behind. This is just not a Department of Education thing. You're getting left behind because if you think about the subclasses and in the lower class becoming the no class and the middle class becoming the subclass, we are marching into a time of immense wealth, and ain't none of it yours, none of it. So I don't have any confusions about what team I'm on. I have no confusions, and my stance for billionaires is still the same, and it has not changed, and it will not change. If there are people dying anywhere in the world, lack of water, food, whatever it is, and you got $1 billion sitting in your bank account, you got 1 billion tomatoes sitting in your bank account, you got 1 billion, I don't know, dried mint, whatever y'all want to call it, going back in history. My ancestors never did that, okay? Maybe yours did. Maybe that's your culture. It is not my culture to be okay with starvation and live like that. It's not. So it's not a hit on Oprah, not a hit on Trump, not a hit on Elon Musk, not a hit on any of the billionaires, not Bill Gates, none of them. If you got 1 billion anything and people die because they don't have that billion anything or 1,000 of that little or $10 of that billion anything, we are not on the same team. Not in any way, shape, or form. We are not on the same team. So no, that's my answer to the whole, and besides the fact, and I was a little irritated yesterday, I had to make a post, I had to get a little irritated every day. I can't laugh all the time. I get a little irritated because people are actually serious about this. Human beings, adults, people who know what's happening all over the world are actually serious about running somebody in 2020. It's not about Oprah. It's about, are you smart enough to understand the problems in this world? Are you, I'm sorry, wrong word. Let me shift back. I apologize for that. Are you paying attention enough outside of your media ghetto for your little group in the little town that you live in with your little newspapers and your news and how they want you to think? Are you looking outside of that enough to realize that the presidents of the United States are not the problem and have almost nothing to do with the solution? We have a worldwide problem. We don't have time to talk about 2020 and any other silliness if you're running Tom Hanks, anybody else you can come up with. Now, if you're running Dave Chappelle, we can talk. Y'all run Dave Chappelle, let's have a conversation. No, I'm kidding. Y'all dig up John Lennon, okay, we might be able to say something. You know, y'all find Bob Marley. Find somebody who I know has some love in their heart, who does not have $1 billion sitting in the bank, and we might have a non-psychopath conversation. It's not about it. Love Oprah to death. I love Trump to death. I love Obama to death. I love Clinton to death. But those people have something that I don't have. They have the ability to stand back while kids get murdered. I can't do that. So not on my team. That's my answer. Be mad at me if you want. Sorry. Love you to death, Oprah. Oh! I agree with Dave Chappelle, though. She break up with Stedman and call me, we might have some issues. But short of that, no, listen. I don't do no social service dating. But the other thing, guess what? It's snowing in the Sahara, people. It's snowing. Run, everybody. Grass up, run, get heated. You know, it's snow. Ain't never snowed in the Sahara before. Y'all remember this last year? Was it last year? 2 years ago, they wanted us to run for the hills when they, oh, it's snowing in Hawaii. Ain't never snowed in Hawaii before. Global warming, we got to run. I know, now my global warming folks, they like, oh, this mother, he gonna start talking bad about global warming. I'm not gonna talk bad about global warming. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just simply gonna say it snowed in the Sahara Desert before. If you own a succulent or cactus or any sort of plant that comes from the desert, you understand they have some snow tolerance. And the reason why they have a little frost snow tolerance is because it gets cold in the desert at night. Sometimes it gets below 30, and if this little thing called a moisture cloud floats over by, guess what's gonna happen? Ain't gonna rain. Okay, so, all right, to be fair, okay, I'm not saying global warming ain't real, and I'm not saying it's not real. All I'm saying is it snowed in the desert before. It's snowing in the desert now. It snowed in Hawaii before. It could be snowing in Hawaii right now. And this is no reason for what happened with the what happened with one of the last little global warming efforts they had, where they basically said the third world countries can't have any, like, almost no carbon emissions, like a different scale than the developed Western world, where basically they would keep the third world in the third world, push the fourth world back to no world. So the modern industrialized nations can keep industrializing and everybody stay back in forced labor and poverty. Y'all remember that? So that's the issue I have with this whole, the global warming push, is I'm starting to listen to some of my conspire theorists about what are y'all really trying to do? Like, everybody knows the weather changes. Everybody knows sometimes it changes for a few years. Sometimes it changes for 10 years. Sometimes it changes for 100 years. Sometimes it might change for 1,000 years. But is that a reason? Is that a reason to force slavery on third world nations? Because you don't want them developed, because you can mine a whole bunch of minerals and get money out of their country and have forced labor? Like, That's my biggest problem is when you show me you're a crook, you come here, you rob my pocket, you show me you love some slavery and you love, doing this to people around the world. I have issue trusting you again. Call it. Maybe I got issues with that, But when what was it? Was it Maya Angelou who said, when someone shows you they love third world slavery, believe them. So I believe it. I believe the leaders of the world love this. I believe the leaders of the world want to keep the brothers and sisters in impoverished countries completely impoverished, which is why I go back to my initial point. It's all about planned obsolescence, things breaking down, you buying more, everybody consuming, and paying just no attention to what it does to the nations abroad who actually paid a price for us buying a new iPhone. That was a mouthful. I didn't even say good morning to nobody yet. I know sometimes I get off of my little rants. I watch the news and I just start smiling. I start laughing. Like, this is real. This is what we doing. How's everybody doing this morning? How's all my people? How's our people doing? It's not my people, it's our people. How did 99% doing? I know 99%, we more like 0.009%, but we growing, y'all. We growing. People starting to realize that we're not on that team slowly, and it's not getting out of their little identity thing, which is why you would run to Hollywood and pick somebody to run for president of the world, because it's identity. Let me tell y'all something real quick. Let me tell you something. It's just television. That's not really who those people are. I'm like, oh my God. All right, I know. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying to, my son, I had a son, oh, he loved some Teletubbies. Boy, he just knew Poe was real. He just knew. I had another son, Elmo, he loved some Elmo was real. And now we live in a time where we got adults who watch television. Entertainment, y'all. Entertainment. Some of them reality shows, talk shows, and news and philanthropy. Let me tell you the secret. It's just television. All of it. They're all becoming who they think that you want them to be. It's all BS. That's not really who any of those people are. All right. I'm sorry. All right. How y'all doing this morning? How's everybody? Hopefully everyone is doing well. What is today? Tuesday? It's Tuesday in the world today. Sister Pat, they let the 99% wake up. They let us wake up this morning. They ain't put no asteroids on us. Ain't no mosquito spray and carcinogens and chemtrails. Well, now some of y'all probably under some chemtrails, but how y'all doing? Sister Patty, good morning. Good morning, Denise. Good to see you. Jasmine and Sandra, Laura, Kathy, Chris, Brother Ron. All right, we got Jill, Sharon, Gabrielle, Renee, Susan, Jeremy, Sean. Okay, got a whole bunch of people. Brother Muhammad and Joanne. Joanne said, what? I laugh like Eddie Murphy. Stop that. That's some racism, girl. Don't say that. Yeah, I do. That's not racism, John. I'm just playing. Joanne, I play. Sometimes I say stuff. That's not racism. I grew up in the 80s and we listened to Eddie Murphy laugh and some of us picked it up and I can't get rid of it. I'm sorry. It's just, some of this is funny to me. Anyway, so we got Robin and Brother Mike and Saida. Okay. What's your Brother Mike? Overabundance of resources. Overabundance of resources. Yeah, and that would be a good thing. And we know we have tons and tons of we got tomatoes for everybody. But we just don't want people to have them. That's, I don't know why. Well, yeah, we do know why. It's planned obsolescence. They don't want you fixing your lawnmower when it breaks. They don't want you fixing your car. And it's not even just like a corporate thing. Like, it's easy to sit back and blame corporations, but it's not even them, right? Because there's a social thing. Do you change your own oil? Do you use oil cans instead of the plastic jugs? When the bike breaks, do you fix the kid's bike? Do you show them how to fix it? Do you know how to put a chain back on? Do you fix an inner tube with a tire? No, a lot of people, they just do the calculation. They say, no, I don't want to do that. It'll get my fingernails dirty. It'll put a little black char on my fingernail. I don't want to do that. No, because I got to go to the store and get a patch kit. Don't want to do that. Don't. I'm not going to teach my kids to do the things that we did when we were kids. I'm not going to teach them to be sustainable and repair things. I'm going to teach them to just go, iPhone got a crack. I can't really see the screen that well. I'm just going to throw this one away and get the next one, But then there's the whole planned portion of it where they design it to be consumable. And that's really, I guess, in defining it a very simple way, they basically made everything consumable, right? Because we consume it either with our ignorance or through our mouth, and we throw it away. It's like toilet paper. And cell phones are pretty much toilet labor that are just made on slave labor. And televisions and cars and houses and all this crap that you see all your friends posting all day long and everybody like, share. That's the new car. Like. Ooh, look at Dubai. Like, share. And it just builds up this psychological mentality where we worship the wealthy. And they know it. And it's crazy. And it's some sort of a mental illness that adults in our world actually worship people who are wealthy who couldn't give two damns about them. This is why you just gotta hug people. This is why I can't get on the boat. Y'all want to vote for the next billionaire, somebody to run the world. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that's the right direction, people. I know you think you know her. you don't know her. You're not like Stedman know her. Anyway, all right, stop. I'm gonna stop because I know a lot of people love Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah's done a lot of good for our society. She absolutely has. I agree with it. She done did some damage too, but she done did a lot of good for our society. So did everybody. Trump does good for our society. Did a lot of damage too. All right. So, planned obsolescence. So what we got going on? We got good old, what's the name of that ridiculous company? Apple. We got Apple, planned obsolescence. So Apple got caught with their fingers in the cookie jar. Let me see if I can find the news. Apple got caught with their fingers deep in the cookie jar with planned obsolescence because they got caught doing what every other corporation that writes software does. I know you just think it's the iPhone. It's not the iPhone, France. It's not just, and France is coming after them. I don't know if anybody else is, but let me see if I can find this. France is coming after. France done had it. They done had it with you bastards making planned obsolescence models and selling phones to the people and convincing them to upgrade, and the people who don't want to upgrade, because the people in France are like, I'm not going to do the French accent because that's going to be bad. Check this out. I haven't spoke French in a long time. It's been a long time.
Smartphone users owns an iPhone. Each new model causes much excitement, but not everyone is happy with the US manufacturer. A French consumer watchdog has filed a legal complaint saying Apple deliberately slows down old iPhone models to encourage customers to buy newer ones.
We think that they are doing what we call planned obsolescence in the purpose for people to buy new one. It's a marketing strategy, and we think that we have enough proof to make this lawsuit now.
Hopp says Apple uses software updates to slow down its phones. The watchdog says recent updates coincided with the release of the iPhone 8. In France, such a practice is illegal.
In France, that's illegal? This is crazy. And this is why I thought y'all was silly for pouring out the French wine and throwing the French fries down the toilet, the gutter, whatever y'all was doing. In France, they got a few things. But this is why I'm saying we have to be a bunch of individual societies and look at what other societies are doing. Say, that actually makes sense. I thought that was off the hook. I can't believe that there's actually a government that we haven't invaded and bombed and destroyed that has a law that says that you can't do planned obsolescence. It's against the law. Have you ever had your old laptop and it slow down on you, get these updates and it don't seem to work right after the updates? You get problems and blue screens and you kind of deal with it for a few months, and after a while you just get sick of it and you just throw it out, or you just give it to the kids or something and you go buy a new one. This could be why. And there's corruption, there's operating system things that happen in between. And so, but you ever notice that when you take that machine, what we used to do is instead of just throwing it away and getting another one, we'd actually reinstall the operating system and it would actually work really well again. It'd be really fast because it didn't have the update perhaps. All corporations do this. They all do it in their own way. It's just a little easier to do it with phones and devices where you're updating the software, but it's the same exact thing. It's this planned obsolescence model. And so it walks us in to this model where everybody's cheering for slavery. Everybody is supporting it 100%. Now, some people support it a little less. My friends are telling me we got to start to separate ourselves out. There's like the Western countries, and then there's the ignorant Western country people, but and ignorant in a nice way, like the people who just don't get it. They just keep buying crap instead of fixing things. But this is my belief. And it's not even my belief. It's all of our ancestors' beliefs. They tried to hand us this wisdom. The only thing that should be consumable is your toilet paper, your toothpaste, and the things that you eat. Short of that, everything else, it should be something that you fix and you keep and you buy quality. And if you actually have a law like that around the world, where if you get caught with any sort of planned obsolescence, you sell, I don't know, bikes with inner tubes that don't have patch kits to encourage people to actually fix the things instead of throwing them out. I keep talking about bikes because in the United States, if you go to most parks around major cities, you'll see a bunch of bikes that are just thrown down the hills and in the woods rotting. As kids, you never saw that. As kids, that was money for us. We saw an old bike, somebody threw it away. Oh, we go get it, sand it down, paint it, and we got a whole brand new bike. But, we're teaching our kids to be increasingly more and more ignorant. And that really is like the scary direction of planned obsolescence with this, is we're actually forcing our kids to be completely detached from all that wise stuff that we were taught. So anyway, this is my first stop was for planned obsolescence in the iPhone. Where are we at? Everyone gets a free car. Oprah tricking people into billionaire fake benevolence. Everybody is not going to get a free car. Everyone can get a free car if people actually come together and agree on it. But, cars are very cheap and easy to make, especially if we take down the ignorant monetary policies that we have. But I don't know that we're going to do that anytime soon. We still got a lot of hugging to do. And this is why I was a little upset yesterday when people won the next billionaire to run the world. They're like, we're not supposed to go that direction. Like, you keep escalating. Don't escalate. Don't escalate. Stop. Breathe. I know you're upset that Trump is a president. Just hold brief. Why would anybody vote for Donald Trump to be the president? Maybe I should go ask him. Go do that. Have a conversation with him. Not the one that's got the Trump sign in the yard with the guns and the bullet shells and casings all. Don't talk to him. Don't do that. But go talk to someone who you used to know, someone who is relatively intelligent like you are, someone who perhaps went to the same university you did. They have the same level of degrees you do. Why would somebody so intelligent vote for somebody like that? That's the direction. It's not to say, you got your reality TV billionaire, damn it, we're going to get ours too. Because you know what's going to happen next. After y'all done with Oprah in 8 years, you're not going to put somebody else in. They're going to find somebody, they're going to find the most ignorant reality TV survivor, host star. But let's not escalate. You can de-escalate. Think about this like a marriage. Think about it like a marriage. You're upset with the choice. Just breathe for a minute and find out if these people have real gripes and complaints. I'm not saying Trump was a good idea. I don't believe in voting for people who don't, their account balances aren't anywhere near mine. I don't believe that. But I do believe everybody can be president. I do agree with that, and I don't agree with politicians being president. I will say something positive about Trump-Oprah presidencies. Politicians should not be involved in government right now. Why? That's crazy. Why would somebody say something so crazy? We need political scientists, and because our problems aren't political. Why the hell do we have political scientists in our government? When we have political problems, then we should have politicians in government. Right now, we don't have political problems. We got problems just respecting the fact that a toddler shouldn't be buried under 1,000 tons of concrete. And we got both parties running the government who thinks this is normal and this is a good thing to do. Our problems aren't political. So I do agree with the concept of getting people who aren't politicians to run. I just disagree with the fact that they should be Hollywoodish and people you don't know. I think we need some stay-at-home moms in government. I think we need some teachers in government. I think we need some scientists in government. I think a government, I got a crazy idea, y'all, for around the world. Crazy, dumb idea. What if government were representative of the people? Y'all remember that little saying they used to say government should be representative? So, all right, I don't want to go too far. Oh, goodness, yeah, I'm going to try to stay. That's a hot topic. I see people discussing that. I'm like, they're fighting online. I'm just like, why are y'all? Why does a 99% fight over 1% of people who would never text them back, won't read the emails? You come to the house, they're going to sick the guard dogs on you. Growing up, the bad person was the person always sicking dogs on people. Why would you want that person who knows nothing? They didn't grow up eating Spam, y'all. I grew up eating Spam. I grew up eating some damn Spam. Okay, my brother had a great Spam recipe. And don't eat Spam. If you're watching this, don't ever eat Spam. It's not food. It's not food. But I agree. He had a great Spam. My oldest brother, he'd take the Spam, put it in the oven, he'd bake it. Wait, I'm not going to get a Spam recipe. Never mind. We're not going to go there. I get a Spam recipe. Say, I'm going to try that. No, don't eat it. It's not food. It's not food. We was dumb. We were dumb kids. All right, I'm sorry. We all went on a tangent. People worship the rich and the richness. Saida said that's true. People worship the rich and the richness. Oh, worship, yes. Yes, and this is what this is. It's a psychological thing. Because if they convince you, and then you're indoctrinating your kids into this society of the acquisition of wealth, this culture of buy, it psychologically affects you. And it gets you to a place where you want more, and you want the new iPhone, you want the new car, you want the new this, you want the new clothes, you want the new shoes, you want the new, and you don't know psychologically that your brain is actually being rewired for the acquisition of wealth. Wealth is good, poor is bad, or having not is bad. And so living within your means is horrible. Living far ignorantly outside of your means on debt is a wonderful thing. And then of course, what will it do is it'll walk you into worshiping people and wanting to be like people who have a lot more than you do. It is a psychological mind screw that creates some sort of epigenetic mental illness, stuff that nobody wants to research. which is probably why a lot of people can't get away from it. As intelligent as they are, they don't really understand, and they can't. People with ancestry directly back to recent slavery. It's a good thing to swallow this, though. If you're in the 99%, you have ancestry back to slavery. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, doesn't matter what country you're from, slavery was everywhere. And if you are in the 99%, you had ethnicity back to some slavery, some serfdom, some vassalism, right? So people who recently and distantly have history back to slavery are embracing this consumerism, which is based in it. How is that not a mental illness? Like how? All right, let me keep going. Yeah, they had my iPhone buddies relieved because they all thought they were going bananas, assuming iPhone was doing something suspect. Yes, they are. They all are. And it's, but again, it's not just the corporations. We do that too, right? Psychologically, we walk ourselves into it, and then we give our kids the mental illness, and then they suffer from it. You know how people like to say, I always want better for my kids than for myself? Do you think this is going to end up better for our kids? Do you? Do you really? All right, let's keep going. So what else we got in the news? And this is right on topic too. So we got folks in Tunisia upset. People in the streets upset, yelling, screaming at you, crying foul. Why are they upset in Tunisia? For the same reason they're upset in the Sudan and everywhere else. Look at this. Look at the commercial. Y'all, look at this. See, you got to get the new Infinity. Oh my gosh, they're upset in Tunisia.
The economy, just as it was in Tunisia during the revolution that spawned the Arab Spring in 2011. Tunisians are looking at their circumstances and saying enough. Although this time they're also saying not much has changed since they succeeded in bringing democracy to their country.
It's been 7 years since 2011 and the government didn't do anything for us, so it's natural to protest. I think the demonstrations will be bigger than before because of these major price increases. People are no longer accepting this high cost of living, and that is contributing to the protests throughout the country.
I'm gonna stop there. So people are upset.
Anger over the rising price of bread in Sudan. The government's warning protesters that they'll be confronted with force if they don't stop.
So people flipping out all over the world right now, which is how they usually are, because their governments aren't doing things for them. Why are their governments not doing things for them? Maybe it's because their governments are not representative of the people. Maybe because they're puppet governments put in by the Western countries. Maybe it's because we continue to worship these debt models. And it's interesting to do the links between Tunisia and what's happening in Sudan right now. Sudan, so they're rioting over bread. They're literally having bread riots. They're flipping out because the price of food, like we talked about yesterday, went up 300%. And I think it's important for Americans to kind of pay attention, to take a look at what actually is going on in the riots around the world, because food prices in America will be going up. Let's see what
dollar is worth 18 Sudanese pounds instead of 7. Last year, the US government eased financial sanctions against Sudan, which led many to believe that there is an economic boom on the way.
Because the sanctions ended, we were pleased. We began to rearrange our lives, but we are surprised that life is getting worse.
Some say there was too much expectation for change too soon.
Of course. Why would you think change is going to come too soon? Because we talked about this before. This is sanctions, right? Sanctions are not against the government. They're against the poorest people in the country. And so when you destabilize or you destroy an economy by limiting the trade you do with a country, which is what we did with Sudan, you destroy their economy. You hamper their economy. So just because you lifted last year doesn't mean you're going to get some sort of boost. You're dealing with the pressure of not actually being able to trade and get the things in your country you need. This is why sanctions is warfare, which I do think, like I said, I'm happy Obama brought it down, pleased that Trump pushed it through, and it's a wonderful thing. However, people are starving in Yemen. People now can't afford bread in Sudan. It's not just bread, it's the cost of everything. And same with Tunisia. What do you think is going to happen if the dollar collapses? What do you think is going to happen if currencies around the world collapses? They all will look just like the Sudan and the Tunisia. And when it comes down to it, why would people go out in the street and burn cars and burn buildings and just act a fool? Why would they do that for food? Because without food, you die. Maybe it's a good idea to pay more attention to the brother we started off the broadcast with, Peter Joseph, and the Zeitgeist movement, and actually utilizing some of the tools, some of the automation we have to actually feed people instead of getting a new iPhone. So you can text a little faster. And some of y'all aren't texting, you're sexting. Yeah, I found out what that is. Oh my God. So you're sexting, you know, but it's just like we keep using our technology for extremely ignorant things. Something else, oh, this was interesting too. I thought this was Scottish, the Scottish. We're gonna talk about the Scottish. I did an accent. I know y'all gonna call that racism. But you know what? I love the Scottish accent. If I could get me a Scottish accent, I'd get it. I used to work with a brother with a Scottish accent. I used to love to talk to him. I shut up in the meet. I know me shut up, that don't really happen on it all. But I shut up in the meetings because I just wanted to hear him talk. I work with a lot of people in the UK. I love the accent. Why is it that people sound so intelligent when they don't have your accent? It's a psychological. I know that's probably my mental illness. But anyway, I love Scotland, love y'all to death. I know. But I grew up at a time. We didn't have this PC stuff when I was kids. We didn't have political correctness. I don't think the word even existed. When we were kids, oh, if you was fat, you was fat. If you was dark, you was dark. If you was this, you was that. So I've been called all kind of names in the book, and so I don't have that sensitivity. So I'm trying to evolve if y'all let me. But anyway, I'm sorry, my Scottish brothers and sisters. But check this out. This is what happened in Scotland.
Dreamers debate might actually have some resonance in Scotland, where the local parliament is looking into the possibility of granting the right to vote to anyone granted asylum or a residency permit. It would include a right to participate in local and Scottish parliament elections. The Scottish Minister for Parliamentary Business claimed that it's only fair that those who have the right to live there should have the right to vote. And we debate the issue with James Dornan from the Scottish National Party and David Coburn from the UK Independence Party.
The idea that any country allows people who are not their citizens to vote in any election is just unheard of and totally wrong. The Scottish National Party want to gerrymander elections, and now they want to give the vote to every Tom, Dick and Harry. This is wrong. Anybody but the English, I should think. I don't know how that goes down elsewhere. Some people might call that racist.
Out of that ramble and rant that I just heard from David Coburn there, the only person that sounded racist in it was him. The fact that we are not interested in the race of people that have got a right to vote, and if they've got the right to stay here, then I think it's only appropriate that they've got the right to have a say.
They must have British citizenship.
Okay, all right. I was sorry. I was trying to pay attention. I got a little. Yeah. I don't know why I love the accent so much. The first guy, his accent kind of stank a little, but the second one, oh, that's Braveheart. I know, that's crazy, huh? I'm like, Willie Wallace! I already like what that's my identity politics. Everybody got a little identity politics in that. Anyway, so all right, think about this seriously, okay, right? Because this relates to the United States and other places, right? Because you got immigrants running across the border. You got people who, I guess, are not supposed to be in the country, and the idea that they vote. People who the government allows to be in the country, should they be allowed to vote? I know some people will be mad with this, but yes. Hell yes, times 3. Why? They live there. They're allowed to be there. They're paying taxes there. Why wouldn't they be allowed to actually have any control in what happens to them in a place that they're legally allowed to be? Unless you just want to keep them from voting for some stork birth lottery reason, because the stork dropped you off in that country, that you're superior or you're more privileged, and they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Another debate as to whether or not you're in the country legally, but this is like a mid-tier debate for me anyway, because to be honest with you, I'm not a citizenship type guy. I don't believe in the 1% I don't believe in the elders of the people who run the world and their little border fencing that they put in. I don't believe in none of that. I think citizenship is a bad idea. Nationalism is a bad idea. I think it's all based on slavery and different models where you're not really on a plantation, but you're on a national level plantation. So I don't believe in any of that. I think that you don't own anything on this planet. I think that we all share the planet. And if you have food, you should share it. If you have land and people need land, you should share it with them. I think crazy ideas. I know. It's kind of like Christianity if somebody actually ever really practiced it. It's like Judaism if anyone actually wanted to practice. It's like being Islam or Muslim if anybody actually wanted to practice. It's like atheists who believe in Gaia and Mother Earth and sharing things if they ever actually wanted to practice instead of just talking BS and actually having little agendas and playing little games, pretending that they believe in things that they don't believe in. So I think it actually makes sense. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And of course, that directly relates to America and a lot of the debates right now as to whether or not, because this gets into DACA, right? It gets into, oh, you know what? I think at the end of this, were they talking about DACA at the end of this? DACA's in the news because something happened. They were talking about the Dreamers. Dreamers. They're talking about the Dreamers. Do I have it queued up? Oh, you know what? I don't have it queued up. So, and we started talking about it yesterday. The 200,000 El Salvadorian citizens in the United States that they're going to be telling they got to go if Congress doesn't write a law, if Congress doesn't actually do their damn job and fix immigration so it actually works for America. And the thing, and like I said, I did a video a long time ago about it. What I saw, and this is one of the things I actually agree with. And I saw the president forcing Congress to do their job and highlight their corruption and their support for keeping people in the country who are undocumented, who are being used for slave labor, for the mid-sized businesses and even small businesses and corporations, and even some for even things like sex slavery and human trafficking. I thought it was a fantastic thing. Now, it's not a fantastic thing if we kick these people out. That's not a fantastic thing. I don't believe in that. But I think it's a fantastic thing, and it highlighted precisely how corrupt our Congress is because they didn't do it. And I think they got 2 more months, and I don't even know if any bills are in the works. And so to me, what it's highlighting how much both of these political cartels don't give a damn. That's what it's highlighting. It's highlighting the truth that every administration deports more people than the previous administrations. It's highlighting the truth that if you are an immigrant, if you are a minority, or if you're not a minority and you believe in like feeding people and helping people and not destroying their countries and taking care of them, it means that they don't give a damn about you. That they don't give a damn about, and to me, this isn't, again, it's not politics, this is human rights. You don't get to go and destroy somebody else's country with a war on drugs, you know, basically just urinating all over the country, just making it a mess, knocking over shelves, knocking stuff down, blowing stuff up, and then blaming the people that they don't want to live there in the power vacuum that and the crime wave that comes after you destroying their country with your ignorance. So I thought that was interesting. That had to do with Scotland. Oh, guess what? We done found life on Mars again. How many times did we find life on Mars? I lost count. We done found life on Mars again. Where is it at? So we got a scientist who found fossils in one of the images. Do I have a picture of it? Oh, you know what? I thought I had it queued up. I don't have a picture of it. We found life on Mars again. But it's not the first time we found life on Mars. Let me do this. I'm going to show you this one while I'm going to pull up the other one. But they found some fossils, and this one was pretty deep because they found it, and they turned it. It was the Curiosity rover, rode past it, and took a picture of it, And then, hold on, I'm gonna put this up here while I try to find. These are some other fossils that we found. This is in the past. That's a Mars lichen. Y'all know what a lichen is? That's a lichen. NASA ain't gonna tell you that. I tell you that. That's a lichen. Oh, they don't want you to know. They're gonna show you what a lichen, and that's a lichen on Earth. That's what it looks like. That's some identity politics for you. That's some identity. Look at that. That's a lineup. Lichen on Mars, lichen on Earth. So that was one of the first ones. But there are a whole bunch. There was another fossil. There was a fossil on Earth. That's what the fossil like on Earth. And look at that on Mars. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. What does that look like? A seashell? Does that look like, so this whole idea that we're the only game in town, I don't go there. But hold on, let me see if I can find the most. So there have been a whole bunch of other, and not just the ones in the mainstream. I'm not talking about like the mainstream, the one where they found, was it life in the moon rock or Mars rock that actually asteroid that landed. But let me see if I can show you this picture. So they found life again. They constantly, and it reminds me, I always, every time I hear about this, I laugh, and I think about the Viking mission, where they agreed that they found life in the Viking mission, and the scientists got really pissed off because, oh my goodness. Yeah, hold on, let me show you. This is crazy. This is gonna take me into a side tangent. I laugh at this stuff because, and I haven't done a search for Mars fossils in a while, but apparently, oh hold on, I did it the wrong way. They're always finding life. And this is the problem with NASA. They got this website, and they're always publishing stuff out here. And you got all these people who don't have, well, maybe they have lives. I don't know. It's not a nice thing to say. And they'll go, and they look in the pictures, and they find all this life. And so I'm just doing quick. I was actually looking for the fossils they found. It was a few days ago. But look at all this crazy stuff. So I think this is the one right here. This is the one. Nope, that's not the one they found. They drove past it. Well, look at this right here. I don't know what that is. That's crazy. It may be not. It maybe it's not. I don't know. But I want to find the current one. They're finding stuff that kind of look like, might sort of kind of could be. And a lot of times, like, images will confuse you, and the shadows can kind of mess you up. Oh, here it is right here. This is the one I want to show. This is the one that they just recently found. And so they're angular, and there are, it's a biologist, and he feels that, oh, no, that's life. It's angular, and some of the scientists, yeah, they're coming back saying, no, crystals can kind of form an angular shape sometimes, da-da-da. I don't know. And I think it might be another mental illness. That's wrong. That's wrong. But I do believe it. People who just really want to be the only life in the universe, like people who just, you can't have no bacteria nowhere. We got to be the only bacteria colony everywhere. I don't understand that. But they found that, so I found that to be kind of interesting. Of course, and I love that topic because I love the idea that people actually start to accept that we aren't the only thing. All kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, that's fun sometimes. Sometimes I go out there and look. There are a lot of people who actually pull those images down. So they found that. What else did I miss in the news? I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all off commenting. I'm missing stuff. The mother owns us. Debt is modern slavery. Absolutely, it certainly is, Kristen. Inmates legally cannot vote. Ooh, isn't that delicious, Joanne? That's a delicious topic, and that's a scary one, right? That's how is it that when you commit a crime, and of course my favorite crime is you got caught with some dry plants, how is it that you lose your right to vote? You still have rights in the society. You still live in the society. You're still affected by the laws in the society, but this gets back to that whole 13th Amendment conversation, and slavery actually never ended. All they did is they just took slavery and said, you know what? This African slavery thing ain't working out too well. We're going to have to expand this. And they expanded it to everybody. Now, everybody could have their rights taken and be thrown in a cage smaller than what they put a lion or a monkey in. Slavery never ended. It continues on today. It's just an all-inclusive model now, which is why I think we're starting to actually make some traction into solving the slavery issue in America, which is being deployed to every other country. You know, we don't like, when we come up with bad ideas, we like to share them. We like to force them on other countries. But, which is why I think we're making traction, because now a lot of the middle class kids are getting caught up in slavery, right? And now even some of the lower upper class kids are starting to get, and so people of all races, creeds, religions, classes are really starting to see that this system is completely out of control, that there is no justice system in the United States of America. It's just a slave system. That's all it is. There are very few criminals in prison anymore that are violent, you know, that actually did a violent crime. They're the minority. And then there are very few where the violent crime occurred that didn't have to do with scarcity, survival, or the drug war. Like, if you want to get all the guns off the street, if you want America to stop being a violent country, or Mexico, or wherever you live, all you got to do is get rid of your scarcity, use automation to push out abundance so people don't have to murder, rob, kill, steal, destroy to get some food, burn things down like we see in Tunisia and Sudan. Get rid of your war on drugs so people can be farmers. They can grow anything they want, and they can sell it to sick people so sick people don't be sick. I know, I said don't be sick. Yes, I did. And doing those things alone, you'll basically end violence in your society. But that's not what they want, right? That's not how they work. This is not, I mean, you know, and we have to think about it. Planned obsolescence could apply to the concept of having throwaway citizens also. I have to think about that. Somebody think about that and tell me what you chew on that a little bit. There's something there. There's some, but it's this mindset, right? It's this mindset creating people who don't care. And I think we have to turn the boat back a little bit. I think we have to go back to caring a little more. Joanne said the Anunnaki lived here first. Something lived here first. I don't know what was on Earth first. Something was here. I don't agree that we were the first game and we were the only game. Mainly because I have a friend who worked at NASA and knows that there are things on the moon that are not supposed to be on the moon. And it's a friend that doesn't lie. Everybody should have a friend that sees stuff that you don't see, that's not really supposed to exist in the mainstream model of things. That's why, like I said, but I don't know. I don't know. I just know that today is a lie across the board. The cartels, Sister Patty said the cartels are killing people in Mexico right now, and that can't go out, and they can't go out at dusk. Exactly. So if you live in a town and the next town over, let's say that next town over is America, and they destroy your economy, they destroy your society, they actually pay the cartels to buy tanks, guns, weapons, CIA, Rick Ross, you know, all the evidence of this in the past, and you destroy that country, that town, how can that country that destroyed it not have some accountability, right? And this is why I'm not on deport people. I disagree with the Democrats and the Republicans. I don't think y'all should be deporting people. I think that y'all should go back to the root cause. You caused the problem. You are the special son of a gun who actually rolled out the solutions that screwed all of those people, caused a lot of people to be murdered who should not have been murdered and in prison and raped. I think you swallow that nasty pill, accept your own evil, and change. Like, you know, there's a chance there is a chance that I could vote for a Democrat or Republican again. There is a chance. It is a chance. There's just like way out in hell somewhere with an ice cube and some tinfoil, it doesn't melt. But there's a chance if y'all actually admit up to your own dirt. You know, the people you don't trust, the people you don't trust are the people who never make a mistake. The people who, they just keep lying and they keep adding to it and they keep making it worse, pretending that they didn't cause the problem. The people who spilled the milk on the kitchen floor, everybody keeps slipping and falling, breaking their necks, and they refuse to accept that they were the cause of it. And then they don't want to clean the milk up because they don't actually have to admit that they spilled the milk. So, but I'd love to see y'all come be clean. Come be clean. Be clean. Come back to the human race. I'd love to see the Democrats and Republicans come back and actually give a damn about the human race again. So I agree with you. You know, we funded those cartels, we built them up, and it's our problem in the West. We need to fix it. But the other thing, the good thing about admitting that we spilt that milk in Mexico and all over the world, South America, Africa, Middle East, is Africa, South America, Middle East, and everywhere else. Everywhere else you admit, damn it, spilling milk is a bad idea. That's planned obsolescence. Let's not spill the milk again. You know, and so there's a legal planned obsolescence. My God, all this stuff relates together. It all fits together. This is crazy. But, you know, it's this idea that we got to keep moving forward with bad ideas from people who aren't, I would say they're smart enough to run a daycare. Because daycare, you got to be smart. That's our babies in daycare. But people who aren't smart enough to shoot a potato gun. Something, I don't know. All right. Let me go down and see what y'all talking about. There was a couple other things in the news too. Oh, I'm gonna say something nice. I'm gonna say, I'm hard on the CIA. I know. I'm gonna say something nice about them. So something happened. I don't know that I got time to show you the news clip from it, but so the last SpaceX mission, we shot up in the air. Elon Musk, Elon, billionaire, get some of that money out the account, brother. He shot his rocket in the air and had a top secret satellite space mission on foot, U.S. government. And usually when the satellite actually is released and the mission goes well, they come back and they say, successful mission, yay, golf clap, everybody's happy. That didn't happen. Led a lot of people down the route of speculating that the mission did not succeed. Or it was just so top secret that they couldn't tell anybody about it. How is that interesting? It's interesting because it gets into the embargo on information that we seem to live in. This idea that things can be classified from people who need that information to actually make an intelligent decision. It gets back to things being classified from our government, our politicians, even our presidents, who actually don't have the ability to get the classified information to make a decision because they're not allowed to know. So from a SpaceX mission, top secret satellite perspective, first of all, they shouldn't have no top secret anything. America rules the world, unfortunately, and they got all the weapons to murder everybody if they want to, so they don't have a reason to hide anything. Neither does Russia. But two, if the mission failed and there's a problem with SpaceX rockets and they want to send people into space and a satellite might fall down on your head and kill somebody, don't you think the American people ought to know? Like, isn't it something that the world should know that, okay, it's nothing on Elon. I think y'all are fantastic, phenomenal company, genius. But if we actually don't have all the data to say, you know what, this SpaceX thing is a good idea, this going to Mars thing is a good idea, this, you know, your rockets actually work, we're not even allowed to know if the mission succeeded. And so it just feeds into this. But I'm gonna say something positive about the CIA. And so the other side of it is, and so we got this top secret satellite that either burned up in orbit or is just sitting up there. And I suppose it would make sense for another nation to send another rocket up to go grab this piece of top secret technology and do something with it. So you know what it reminds? It reminds me of the submarine. It reminds me of that submarine that we went and, where it was a Russian submarine. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. And the sub sank. It crashed into, they suspect, one of our subs. And we built that ship. Was it with Howard Hughes? We had this lie that Howard Hughes was going to get into mining until he built this massive ship to go out and harvest it. Here we go. I found it. To go out and salvage it. And they went out and they found the Russian sub. They had this whole intricate model for putting cranes down. I think it was almost a mile underwater, something like that. They grabbed it. They didn't tell Russia. They pulled it up and they looked at all the secret information and everything. And of course, there were still Russian sailors on it. And the CIA did the right thing. Right. So but you know, today's CIA isn't yesterday's CIA. They did the right thing with Russia. They went and they actually had a ceremony for the Russian soldiers. right? They had a quiet ceremony. They filmed the whole thing. It was in Russian. And later in time, they released it to the Russian government. They actually did the right thing. And this was amazing to me because it was the first evidence that we have people in our private agencies that are actually human beings, people who actually have a heart and care about the bodies of those Russian sailors. So positive thing about the CIA, I know that don't happen too often, not with me, but they did the right thing in that occasion. And maybe this has to do with the satellite. Maybe they just don't want somebody up there pulling down a top secret satellite. But it just gets back to the same point. We don't live in a time. We don't have time for government secrecy, right? Like these people are like destroying the world. They don't have the ability. They lost the ability to have secrets a long time ago. There's a bunch of other news stuff out there. Oh, that was the news. Yeah, I'll post it if you want to see that, or you can look it up. Let me see what y'all are saying, and then I'm gonna run out of here, see if I missed anything. Kristen said, well, they are bad ideas for the slaves, not for those that are benefiting from the system. Yeah. You know, you just made me think of something, sister. You just made me think. I was actually watching, I think it was the Sudan. I think there was interviews with the people in Sudan who were having the bread riots. And one of the interviews, one of the guys said, he said, well, you know, the people who have the money, you know, people who have jobs. No, it was Tunisia. It was a Tunisia riot. So the people with jobs, because part of Tunisia, while they're rioting, is they don't have jobs, right? Because their jobs not coming back either. Because we're automating everybody out of a job, and that's why the 99% needs to care. Because the world's gonna collapse. Because the way this actually, I was gonna take y'all to the whiteboard. I know, sister, you sent me down the avenue. Hold on. So the idea that we're supposed to have jobs into the future makes no sense, right? Because as we make more technology and create more efficiencies, there's supposed to be less jobs. We're supposed to automate manufacturing, make things easier to make. And so as we get rid of the reasons to have jobs, the hard labor and the things that people do a horrible job at, like manufacturing and getting robots to do it, you're gonna have less and less jobs, right? People exponentially are going up in terms of our population. Our jobs are going down. And you have to think about, well, where does this end? And so anyway, it takes me to Tunisia. And so it was just an interesting thing. Like all over the world, jobs are going away. Human beings are all going to go to being slaves. The 99% are all going to go to being slaves, or the world's going to destabilize, and it's going to be the end of it, which is why we got to make some changes. But what he said was, he said, you know, the people who have the jobs, they're not out here. They're not protesting because they don't care. And he's right. He's absolutely right, because that's what I see in America. You know, the people who benefit from slavery, they don't care. They have ancestry back to slavery, but they don't care. They're doing pretty well. They're happy, you know. And that's one of the sick things about our society. But the neat thing is we actually now can talk about it. We actually now have enough evidence back, not only in history, to know that we all came from oppression, everybody, but also to be able to share that information of what's happening around the world. When you're okay and you're cushy, you don't give a damn about the boot, your boot being on top of somebody's head, you know. And so that gets more into what we were talking about yesterday, living within your means and not being ignorant, you know, with what you have, what you were blessed with, because the stork landed you with this mother or this father and this family and this country, you know, where you actually were able to get an education or do something great with your life. You're supposed to turn around and share that with other people. Right? Like that's the whole point of a lottery. You lucked up. It wasn't you. You didn't do nothing special. You're not special. You're not special. You were lucky. Because neuroscience will tell you anybody else with the similar genetics in the same situation as you will actually become you. And taking you as great as you think you are and putting you in an extremely impoverished family where the father runs away, the mother runs away, you're a street kid raising yourself, you become violent and a criminal. That's you too. That's why you're not supposed to judge people. You're supposed to share with people and accept the fact that we are all victims, not of nature or nurture, but of nature, nurture, and environment. Trust the science. It'll bless you. Science is a good thing, people. Earth ain't flat. I know one of my friends, Brother Happy's probably, Earth is flat. Okay, you know, I just say trust the real science, not the pseudoscience, not the corporate science, not the profitable science, but the actual real science. And that is we all become what our environments make us, and that's the way DNA actually works. Yes, Teresa said my cousins. Absolutely. All of our cousins, girl. Mexico, Middle East, Yemen, Africa, Congo. They're all our cousins. You know, every last one of them. The Bundys, you know, Lavoy Finicum, you know, the minority kids being shot on the streets in the inner cities, the kids in the trail. They're all our family. All of them. You go back far enough, we're all related. So don't be ignorant. Don't be time lineage ignorant and just take it back 200 years or 1,000 years and associate whatever little ignorant ethnicity group you want to associate with. We're all related. And what solar radiation does to your skin and your hair is insignificant to you standing up with the 1% versus you standing up with the 99%. Let me see what else we got. Joanne said, biggest threat to human life at the moment is chemtrails. They contain aluminum, barium, and toxic heavy metals to reduce climate change, called geoengineering. Geoengineering is a real thing. Spraying people is a very real thing, right? Japan did it to China. America's done it to small towns. Aluminum is found all throughout the environment, but the levels of aluminum that they find are higher than what they're supposed to be. And outside of that, all the damn jets flying over the air, you know, in the air are spraying, things are landing down on us that shouldn't be here, you know? And then there is that evidence. They have the pictures of the jets doing spraying, right? We know there's a difference between a contrail and a chemtrail, and pilots know the difference. And so all of that is very real, you know, but how much do they spray? I don't know. But it's definitely something that is scary. You know, Monsanto did get that patent for plants that can grow with high levels of aluminum. You know, all of that's real suspicious. You know, you have to be a really big corporation to have enough money to literally spray, you know, large swaths of land. So I don't know. I don't know. To me, I look at things from a plausibility perspective because I don't know. And none of us really know because we're 99%, which means we're not allowed. We don't even know about the damn satellite. We can't even know about fossils, so we're not allowed to know. But it actually sounds plausible that chemtrails could be a thing. And that geoengineering is something that they've been looking into for a long time. And universities actually have done those studies, and we have, was the CIA whistleblower came forward. So I agree with you. But, you know, the thing is, when people denounce you, right? When people say, oh, that's crazy, that's conspiracy, then it kind of pushes it out of the conversation. Wherein it's based on some facts. It's not a conspiracy at that point. It's a theory that has motives and facts, and we should force our government to investigate and come back with the truth. But the reason we don't get to know the truth is because we go too far into conspiracy theory land and we don't promote the facts, and that's an ignorant thing. And then the other side goes too far into, I just don't believe anything because I'm a troll, and I just don't believe anything unless my government, Fox News and MSN, if it was real, they would have told me, you know. But I think it's always in the middle where we need to be, where we listen to these things and we force somebody in authority to answer the question. And we don't do that because we are off buying a new iPhone, I guess. Christian said it's called being a community. We have to be a community. We have to be a global community. We have to be citizens of the world. If we don't become citizens of the world, there's only going to be a 1%. There is not going to, and it's not going to be a 1%. It's going to be a 1% of a 1%. You know, we have to become a global community, and we got to stop playing these games with human life. It's not funny. You know, I'll joke about Oprah and this stuff and little silly stuff people are talking about, but it's not actually funny. You know, you can replace the driver, right? People want to replace the president. They always like to blame presidents. It was Obama's fault. Now it's Trump's fault. You know, always go to this ignorant land, silly stuff where, you know, it's always mental illness when your party's not in place. You know, the person's always sick when it's not your, but luckily your presidents are never sick too. They do the same damn things all the time, but they're not sick. And so we can't get lost in that identity. We can't get lost in immaturity. political immaturity, right? None of our problems in the world are political. They're all related to being human. Yeah, the geoengineering site, Crystal is off the hook. That's that Dane Wiggum. I like when Dane talks. Dane brings a lot of evidence and a lot of facts. And, you know, we don't know the truth, but we're not allowed to know the truth because we don't demand the truth. We just demand getting back at the other side, right? Which is where all this came from. Last couple of things. It's a fact because government calls it Aurora spraying. Yeah. Well, we know it's a fact that they spray. We know it's a fact that they spray. We don't know it's a fact that they spray all over the country all the time, right? So we know that, like, enough of that evidence has come out. Was that Freedom of Information Act information out on Dane's site? So we know that's true. We don't know to what degree. Loading us up with metal to make our bodies more receptive to 5G microwave weaponization. Oh my gosh, Lola Mar, that's the last comment. You scared me to death with that. Oh my gosh, because it actually is because you say stuff like that, then I link things together in my head like, oh my gosh, that's scary. Because then you think about what happened yesterday. The pharmaceutical company who decided to stop looking into Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's, which are both related to like autism and metal in the brain. And you think about the metal dust being sprayed down, whether intentional or not intentional, whatever, and the metals in the food, the environment, and the idea that they're more susceptible to an increased wavelengths from 5G towers. I'm like, ah! We all gonna die, yo. We all gonna die. But, all right, last one. Brother Bajorn said, don't confuse the term conspiracy. The term conspiracy theory and conspiracy means plot. Absolutely, absolutely. Like there's a difference between detective work, identifying motive, and trying to find out, you know, if this corporation has motive for doing this. Did they get the patents to do this and the spray and da-da-da-da? You know, it's detective work. You know, but we've got somehow it's become popular to call some detective work, identifying a motive, lining up a few facts, and because the person's group, their leaders or their government don't agree with it, it's conspiracy theory. They denounce the person as crazy, which means they have to be dismissed, and it could be something very significant to the human race, human life, or even health. This is why we got to get a little smarter, you guys. We got to step it up. Got to step it up. We got to we got to pull it back. So, listen, it's been a lot of fun coming to y'all from my new mansions because Trump and Oprah won't let me come on in. I'm not going to drive the golf cart and just do the landscape, and they're going to let me in. Y'all look up Planned Obsolescence. It's off the hook. Good research out there by the Zeitgeist Movement, Peter Joseph. We got to get away from an ignorant society, making trash, making weapons of war, buying, and actually backing, you know, the very corporations and the people who actually should not be in control of anything in our world. Not why children live on this planet anyway. All right, love y'all to death. This is Gerard. Y'all have a great day.